Hey, great to have you here. So I'm going to do something a little bit different on the channel today that I haven't ever done before and talk about The Circle, specifically season 7. So The Circle is a show that I got into when I was watching Joey Sasso talk about horror movies specifically. He had mentioned he was on this show and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And for folks who aren't aware of it, it's a reality show competition where they have people stay in apartments in the same building and they're pretty much isolated from each other. They interact with each other via text on the TV essentially. And there's games and stuff that take place. And pretty much the point of the game is they slowly vote off players as they go along from their interactions via text. And there's a lot of people catfishing as people that they're not. They see pictures of the other players, they just never actually see them in person. So interesting social dynamics that take place with that. And it's something that I enjoyed watching. I'm not a big reality show person, but I feel like it had enough of a twist on it that made it interesting overall, and was something I got into for a little bit of time. Really enjoyed the first 3 seasons specifically. And then from seasons 4 through 6, I feel like it went downhill overall, in my opinion. I thought that season 4, the only positive of it was the celebrity cameos that they had. Other than that, it was super predictable who would win from start to finish. Season 5, they did like a dating thing, and same situation there. Didn't really overly love that. The only thing I liked was when they combined folks into one room. And then season 6, I don't know what they were trying with that one. I feel like they tried this whole AI thing, and it just wasn't interesting remotely for me personally. As pointed out, 1 through 3 were seasons I enjoyed. The first one being obviously the start of it. So they didn't have as many twists, but it was the first time doing it. So it really had an original idea at that point in time. Season 2, they added things like when people got voted off, they were then combined into one room, which was a cool twist, especially because I liked the 2 people that got voted off, so it was kind of a fun dynamic. And then season 3 had things like one player would take over a second profile, so a lot of variables that were interesting, and I enjoyed the cast probably a little bit more in those first 3 seasons, and more of the twists that took place. I don't know why personally, I feel like I root for people that are catfishing a lot of times just because I want to see kind of the chaos unfold and have the underdog potentially win, because I view kind of somebody catfishing as somewhat of an underdog. A lot of that I feel like got lost in seasons 4 through 6. But season 7, I will say in my personal opinion, I would recommend if you like the first 3, definitely check out 7, even if you didn't like the other 4 through 6, because those are my personal thoughts as well. I feel like they got back to what made the show good, just the core of the show, focusing on the cast. They had a little bit of twist with a disruptor inclusion there. I just feel like they did a better job at returning to kind of the core of what the show was. And they made some small tweaks that I think improved things. Like they do periodically at the end of the show, they'll show like family videos just to get that sentimental value of like why they're playing this game. And I think those grew stale over time. So they switched it up this season and made it, hey, a live video interaction with your loved ones, which I thought provided a nice change of pace for the show. They've switched up how they've done the final episode a little bit. They have everybody ultimately meet up at the same time at the end and they find out who's a catfish, who's not. That's probably the best part of the final episode in my opinion. I probably care more about that interaction than necessarily who ultimately wins, but I feel like they provided less and less budget towards that final episode over time. They had this big production the first season and then they've steadily declined. Like they don't even have the host of the show there for the last couple seasons. So I think it worked a little bit better in this one than it did in season 6, just because it was more self-managed and they had good dialogue even without the host being there, as opposed to season 6 I feel like didn't really work for me. Overall, I feel like the people that remained in the game and provided interesting conversations in season 7 were similar to those that were in seasons 1 through 3. So that's all, a really short video for today. Just wanted to give my thoughts on, if you haven't checked out the show, I encourage you just at least take a look and see The Circle. It's on Netflix. It's a fun, as I said, reality show competition that's a little bit different than your typical reality show, just having the non-in-person dynamic to it. And then if you watched the first few seasons and then fell off, maybe check out season 7 if you didn't like 4 through 6 like me, just because I feel like it was more on par with those first few. So let me know your guys' thoughts. As I said, kind of a one-off video for today, but wanted to do something different and talk a little bit about The Circle specifically. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to talk to you again soon.